Hello. So today what I want to do is show you how to get your robot to steer toward the light autonomously in a couple different ways, as well as get a full operating system going so that you can drive it with RC as well as switch it over to autonomous mode. But before I do that, I'm going to make a couple assumptions. One is that your robot is working perfectly fine with remote control. If not, go back to the previous video section. You can find it here, okay, on these right here, and then see if you can get your robot to work with remote control. The next thing I want to do, though, is I want to test the sensors before we move forward. And I've written a little piece of code that makes that super easy. And I'm just going to go ahead and open it. Okay, so you can just copy this chunk of code right here. Okay, what I was is I selected this one, plotting 3 analog values, and then paste it into a new sketch. Okay, and the only thing you need to do is make sure that your sensors are hooked up to the same pins that I have. I have it hooked up to A0, A1, and A2, which are going to be not this very bottom one here, the one that doesn't have a female. That's pin 13. So A0 is going to be the second one, the third one, and the fourth one from the very bottom of the motherboard. Making sure, of course, that your signal wire, your lightest color wire, is closest to the chip, and the darkest colored wire is closest to the edge. So if we have that going, what I'm going to do is load this up, and I'm going to, whoops, I have to save it as something. Okay, and I'll pause it while it loads up. Okay, before I show you what I've done here, let's go over the code real quick. It's pretty simple. The setup, the only thing we have to do is open up a serial port so we can communicate with the computer. And then down here in the loop, I'm going to take and create 3 variables, sensor values 0, 1, and 2, and I'm going to do an analog read of pins as A0, A1, and A2. Then I'm going to go ahead and print those. Okay. Notice in this case there's no LN, so this is going to all appear on a single line. Okay, it's going to give me the first value, then a space, a second value, then a space, third value, not a space, but then it commits to a new line. So if you see it on plotter, you see it looks like this, where you got the 3 values going in a nice row here. But what's really cool is if I go to serial plotter, if it's in that format, we get a nice graph like this. And all I want to do is make sure that my sensor is working. So I have a light. I'm going to move it over here. Okay, and clearly you can see that detector is seeing the light. If I move it over here, the other one will begin to, oops, it's stuck, there we go, pick it up. All right, so I have a really nice response with the photodetectors. And last but not least, that green one is going to be the sharp sensor in the front of the robot. Okay, so my sensors are working fantastic. You can go ahead and calibrate yours, figure out what the value would be, for example, on the sharp sensor at about 12 inches, and you want to see what your light values are going to be. Mine actually bottom out at 1023 if there's no light, and of course if it sees the light, we get quite a bit of a change in value there. All right, so that's all I want to show you at this moment. Let's end this quick video, and then we'll go ahead and work on motion control. So I'll see you in a second.